think the beginning was more just navigating, like making it feel safe, because initially it doesn't really feel, well, it's unknown, so there's that kind of like fear, danger, alert, aware, kind of like hyper sensitivity up a bit, like what's that noise, where's this, and shuffling around trying not to bump into things. And then as the days go on, like to settle, to find space in different places, in the room, like on the yoga mat or on the stool or in the cushion or in the bed, in the bath, just to be able to start settling. And then the more you can settle, like that thing of this starts, it doesn't turn off completely. When you hear a noise, it kind of comes back, but this starts dimming a little bit and just starting to sink through the body, and starting to welcome the darkness in, as opposed to something to, like a friction or something to butt up against, like the actually to create some space to have it come in, and that it's less scary. And then there's all these other qualities. There's like a holding. I mean, sometimes it felt very watery. That was the cool thing about having the water too, because even both sometimes being in the water and even having that feeling after of like being held. But you have to relax, because if you're tight, you'll just sink to the bottom. It's like letting go, but still being present. Like we were saying, not to space out or disassociate or kind of follow necessarily too many thoughts and emotions. Like come back to the body. I found that really helpful in the breath, and to experience my body in such a different way.
How so? Like,
I think I was getting that most the last couple days, but of this kind of tugging inside, like when I would sit on the chair, or less lying down but more sitting upright, either on the stool or on the cushion. Almost like a gentle tugging inside. That felt very interesting. It was just like being able to listen, and then feeling like my lower back just like shoulders, everything, and kind of just an expansion, but then also a softening. Like I felt my belly get softer and softer as the days went on, and more like gurgling, which felt really good. It felt very restful. But like new sensations, maybe that we always can go deeper. You think, oh, okay, I'm relaxed, and it's like, oh, I always think of it like an old elevator. You go down, and it's like, oh, it's not finished. And I would feel that, except it was a smoother ride. It wasn't so jolty, but it was like, oh, a little bit more, oh, a little bit more. It's like it can be soft too. That thing of it doesn't have to be scary. It can be really gentle. The letting in, like if we can let go slowly, the darkness will come in slowly. And kind of playing with that, and then hearing a noise and like going back into like a reaction. I'm like, oh, it's okay. And I guess having the darkness constantly was a way to just keep returning, as opposed to having the light or having that. It was like, oh, okay, we're still here, but then to discovering new qualities about that. I guess the holding quality, or the soft quality of darkness that I wouldn't have necessarily realized or thought about in that way, or the nurturing, I think, yeah, it's surprising to feel. Experimenting with little shift. Okay, listen, just kind of take a step back, try to get out of the way. It's like going like this and then seeing what happens, and going like this and seeing what happens, and trying to get ourselves out of the way, which I think is a lifelong or multiple lifelong endeavor. I don't think it's something that happens with the snap of a finger. But I think that sort of mindset really was really helpful and really provided an anchor or something to come back to. And I think that was, even if it was never the same, there was still like that becoming more and more natural for me to check in inside and listen inside, let things sink down and soak through, staying in the body. I think that was the thing with starting to have lights and flashing and, you know, like a spotlight from here and one over here, and wanting to find out what that was about. And instead of like, okay, well, that's all fine, but what if I just sit and keep listening, as opposed to chasing fancy lights in front of my eyes? Which, that's maybe another practice, but yeah, it can perhaps be tempting, but it feels more integrated to try to absorb that inside, or let it mellow, or see what changes, or what how it evolves, or what comes.